Hold it! I'm sorry, Lieutenant Bites, but I have to interrupt the intro this time, because I know exactly what you guys are thinking. Your next line is, but GermanPeter, this video is just a rip-off of Lazy Purple. No, it isn't. I've had this idea for literally years before he even decided to make TF2 videos again. When Lazy Purple did a series, I even said to myself, well, can't make this video anymore, because both me and everyone else would keep comparing our videos with each other. But no, I say, no, this is my idea. He does not have a copyright on it. Is it a rip-off if I make the same video just with the worse quality? Well, but it doesn't really matter, because thanks to this lovely Twitter suggestion, I'll just make it about why I love playing Medic. And to be honest, I'm probably the best person to make a video about how it feels playing Medic. After all, I'm the only YouTuber who's a Medic main. There's no originality left on YouTube anymore. Anyway, allow me to allow you to dive into my psyche and find out why I love playing Medic in TF2. First of all, every good tale starts with a little bit of backstory. So back in 2011, I found out that the Meet the Medic update had dropped because of this exact meme, but let's not talk about that. I used to watch TF2 meme videos all the time because that's how interested I was in the game. So when my brother asked me if I finally wanted to play the game because it was free to play, I said, yeah, okay. But it wasn't actually Medic that made me want to play it. Instead, it was Heavy, the class I always fancied. Miniguns were my passion since Wolfenstein 3D, and I even wished that Heavy was German instead of Russian, so I could relate to him more. So on that faithful day, when I booted up the game, hopped into 2-Fort, the only map I could play, and was finally able to play Mr. Wham Bam Thank You Ma'am, I was thrilled. I grabbed my minigun, thought about the many great kills I'd get, jumped down the balcony, ran over the bridge, slowly, and got killed immediately upon entering the enemy base. So I thought to myself, well, this sucks, and instead tried out Medic because he's German. And yeah, that's actually the story of how I decided to main Medic. But why? Why did I decide to stick with him? What made him so special to me? Why do I love Medic? I mean, by all accounts, it shouldn't make sense. When you look at the lineup of what the classes have to offer, what do you see? Doom Guy, Quake Guy, I don't want you to be alive right now. 4D Chess, I really don't want you to be alive right now. I love RTS games, I like to insta-kill enemies, and I like to insta-kill enemies and also myself. And then there's Medic, who just screams, I really like pressing down mouse 1 and putting myself in danger, and did I mention that I hate fun? He's seriously the most unappealing class, and I can definitely understand why no one ever plays as him. But honestly, I'm kind of a weird person. Sometimes I play video games for the spectacle, not the involvement. Half-Life 2, for example, was most enjoyable for me when I could just walk around and look at stuff. And when I got to shoot things again, I'd go, aw. Not that I didn't enjoy it, but I prefer not being as involved sometimes. I guess that's why I love the Stanley Parable and other walking simulators so much. With Medic, it's similar. You lay back and just let everyone else do the work for you, but still support them greatly. Yet ironically, medics are most involved when it comes to support and are constantly in the spotlight, at least for the enemy team. I suppose I just really want to help people have fun while at the same time not really doing anything, if that makes sense. There's also another important reason, however, and this is probably gonna sound crude. Sometimes when I heal people, especially a large group of players with low HP, it honestly feels tingly. Yes, I'm being completely serious. I'm not saying I get sexual satisfaction from healing people, or at least I don't hope so, because that would be a whole other can of worms I'm refusing to open. I'm assuming it's this urge of keeping numbers up and making sure they don't drop. Basically, micromanagement. In Age of Empires, for example, I also love building units by the 1,000 before engaging into combat, which isn't as interesting to me actually. Huh, that's actually curious. One thing I absolutely love about Medic is being able to overheal players, because it means you won't have to worry about them for a while anymore. You prepare them for battle, and whatever happens next is up to them, not you. It's like sending your kids off to kindergarten. Here's your lunch, be home by 1, don't talk to any strangers wearing balaclavas. It would also explain why I ended up liking the Vaccinator so much, because that weapon is the king of preparation. You need to pick out the best defense and apply it to everyone you don't want to die. Yet at the same time, I also don't like using it sometimes because it forces you to make constant decisions. Medic is so contradictory. Keeping the contradictions up, I also really love taking the initiative as Medic by turning on voice chat and supplying my team with commands, callouts, and encouragement. And if you think about it, who is better at instructing their team than a support class that mainly stays back and oversees the entire battle? No, not Sniper, not NG either. Because you know what these two don't have? A little something that no non-German speaking player can actually pronounce correctly. No words exist on this planet that could describe how much I love the Ubercharge. It's such an incredibly simple concept, but it's so incredibly effective. 8 seconds of absolutely unstoppable invulnerability. That's more than enough time to take out a whole sentry nest, do a big push, or stay alive while the enemy team is doing a push. It truly is the perfect proof that German science is the best in the world. It's just so immensely satisfying to press mouse 2 and watch all of the enemy tags bounce off your manly chest. Medic is one of the most vulnerable characters in the game already. He may be fast and regenerate HP, but he can't defend himself properly, especially if he's healing someone. So when that squishy pile of goo turns himself indestructible, you really feel like the king of the world. You can even run up to sentries completely unharmed and distract them while your mates take them out. Nothing could ever stop you. Well, until the charge runs out. Or a pyro blasts you away. Or you get knocked around by explosions. Maybe Ubers aren't exactly as powerful as I have them up to be. But they feel so right. And remember what I said earlier about managing those numbers? Well, with Ubercharge it's even more beautiful. Because healing wounded players increases the charge rate, it's another fun to switch back and forth between different teammates to get your Uber ready as soon as possible. And here's yet another contradiction. I really don't like ultimates in games because they're so annoying. It's really just a press Q to win button. But with Uber, it never bothered me for some reason. Maybe it's because I grew up on TF2, but I never go, ugh, the enemy medic has another charge already? I suppose it's because getting and keeping Uber is so difficult because you lose it upon death. Come to think of it, medic is a pretty giant glass cannon. Well, in that case, I guess it's good that you have a team that you can rely on, right? At least in pubs, medic is definitely one of the most thankless jobs. You're expected to keep everyone alive, and if you do any mistake, you will be blamed for it. I suppose that does explain why his personality is basically constantly angry. But hey, that's the rule of healers in games. You're forced to not have fun, but you're allowed to trash on your team in return. The worst part, however, is the fact that no one ever seems to protect you. Soldier, rocket jumps away from you. Demo, sneaky jumps away from you. Scout, double jumps away from you. The rest, they can't really jump all that well, but that doesn't stop them from trying. It can be really disheartening because you're risking your life for your team and you don't even get the bare minimum in return. Sometimes you're even sacrificing your fun because you're forced to go medic, even though someone like Soldier is a lot more enjoyable. I mean, is it that difficult to just turn around now and then when your medic is screaming for help? Or to just not steal that medkit from me while I'm already healing you? Or to at the very least not overextend and run away and leave me behind? Isn't there any class in the game that is a good patient? Oh, yes. Heavy, heavy, heavy. Where do I even start? His muscular physique, chiseled like David from stone. His ammo belt and minigun indicating an immense amount of firepower. A deep bellowing voice that would make even Brian Blessed blush. Those giant paws that could rip a bear to shreds but which would only gently embrace you. Oh my, is it getting hot in here or is that just me? He's really the only class in the game that you can rely on pretty much all the time, and he is also the most perfect pocket because he is slow, meaning that he won't ever run away from you, even though some of my friends still try for some reason. He has a literal ton of HP, which means you won't have to worry as much about healing him. He is also a literal meat shield due to his volume. He remains the only class in the game aside from Medic that is able to actively heal you with his large array of lunge items. His minigun tears anything down, and if he's charged, he can destroy sentry nests and even entire teams. And he is incredibly deadly at close distance, so even if a sneaky scout or spy tried to attack you, he could take them out with relative ease, where Soldier would be powerless. He truly makes my heart jump when I see him on the battlefield, because I just know that my medigun will go so far up his butt that he'll taste Uber the morning after. I just know that if I stick as close to these guys as possible, nothing can go wrong.
We did it, Kamerad! Heavy, get away! He's still alive! Heavy!
If it weren't for those guys. If Heavy is the class that you should stick closest to, then Spies are the exact opposite. They're sneaky, stabby mosquitoes whose favorite meal are distracted players. And when you focus on healing, dodging projectiles and building Uber, you're the easiest of preys. I mean, just try to insert yourself into the mind of a spy.
Baguettes, stabbing people, smoking cigarettes, sleeping with moms, oh, it's the defenseless medic, the stabby bit goes in the back, the Eiffel Tower.
But honestly, if you just remember to turn around once in a while and alert your patient of any suspicious teammates, you should pretty much never have any issues ever again. Just what is it with instakill classes and targeting medics? I know they're supposed to pick up the most important players, medic being one of them, but man, why me? It's difficult enough already to deal with rockets, bullets, fire, arrows and stabby Frenchmen, but now also New Zealandian riflemen? I can barely poke my head around a corner without instantly dying, and unlike spies, the only way to avoid these jerks is to just not be seen at all. But I suppose that is how you're supposed to play medic. Play so safely that the enemy team doesn't even know you're there. And now I have no idea how to write a segue to the next topic, so if anyone asks, tell them I came up with something really clever, okay? Thanks. Medic has the fewest weapons out of all the classes in the game. But that isn't necessarily a bad thing. The reason why that is because he is such a huge game changer. If the soldier had an overpowered rocket launcher, that would be obviously an issue, but not as big of an issue if the medic had an overpowered medigun, because that could break the entire game. That's why he only has 4 of them, but man aren't they great! They all fit their purpose. You have the medigun, which is for pretty much everything, very powerful and satisfying. Then there's the Kritzkrieg for when you want to wreak havoc or if you're pocketing a friend. The Vaccinator if you don't want the enemy team to have fun, and finally the Quick Fix if you don't want to have fun. But it doesn't stop there, because he also has many secondary and melee weapons like the Ubersaw and the crossbow, and that's it. That's pretty much all the weapons you'll ever need. They just overshadow everything else, which to be honest is a pretty big problem when you think about it. Well, unless you're like me, who doesn't give a single one. I'll just run Blutsauger and Solam Vow all the time because I'm a filthy battle medic sometimes. I mean, hey, if my team doesn't care about me, why should I care about them? Plus, the Blutsauger is pretty great at keeping yourself alive by just firing behind yourself as you're running away. I used to really hate that weapon until I got an Australian version of it, and now I want nothing else. However, there's one thing I never did and I'll always refuse doing, and that is Uberchaining. I'm sorry, but the medic's job is healing other teammates, not other medics. It's just unnatural. But do actually heal other medics though, because that's really super important, okay? Because hey, he's pretty much the most important class, and I'm not just saying that because I main him. Oh yeah, so why exactly do I main him now? So, why is it that I love Medic so much? Is it the cute face? The fact that he's German? Yeah, but not just that. He allows me to help my team by not being as involved, yet also take charge when I want. I take great satisfaction preparing my units, aka teammates, for battle, and even though they fail to protect me at times, that's what Uber and the other unlocks are for. And that one time when I get to team up with a good heavy and we just stomp the entire enemy team, it gives me a power rush that just can't compare to anything else. Overall, healing people just feels good, you know? I suppose I just love him so much because there just isn't any other healer in any game that feels like him. I guess the closest comparison would be probably Mercy from Overwatch. Yeah, it's been 0 days, yada yada yada, the meme is dead. Well, to be fair, I honestly really love her flying mechanic, but she just can't overheal anyone nor make anyone invulnerable. She's fun, sure, but to me she doesn't have that perfect mix of preparation, support and leaning back that I love so much. Isn't that kinda like TF2 in general? There just isn't any other game like this one. Even a game like Overwatch, which is very similar, but also very different at times, it's not a rip-off, keep that in mind, just doesn't cut it, and vice versa. TF2 and Medic are just the perfect balance of good and bad, and they are one of a kind. And because of that, I think it's pretty easy to tell why I fell in love with them in the first place. But what about you? Do you like Medic or not? Or maybe there's another class that makes you feel a similar way? Let me know down below. I always try to read the comments even if I don't respond. But now I'd love to thank my patrons, specifically One True Ma, Alexis Chavez, Daddy Bob, Dr. TNT, Frozen Spaghetti, Golden Sliv, Jack Blackburn, Mac Cannabis, Oleg Andreev, Ren Marty, Timba P, Zachary Leclerc, and as always, Xenomite. Thanks so much for your support. And if you want to support me too, you could also become a patron, follow me on Twitter, leave a like, or even subscribe if you want. It's okay if you don't, I appreciate all the support I get. And if you're interested in more videos like these, then take a look at The Quirks of German TF2 and The Timeless Perfection of Upward. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video and I'd like to thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful day and goodbye.